Hey everyone, glad to have you here today. There's a very important date coming up that many people don't realize has such a big impact. October 15th. At first glance, it might look like just another day on the calendar, but for the 67 million Americans who depend on Social Security, it's the day the government announces new updates that directly affect monthly benefits, taxes, and retirement rules. Here's something you might not expect. Early estimates suggest this year's update could mean around $54 more per month for the average retiree. But here's the catch. Rising Medicare premiums could take away a big chunk of that increase. In other words, what looks like a raise on paper may not actually feel like one in reality. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what's expected, why it matters, and how you can prepare. But before diving in, let me ask you, do these yearly Social Security updates really make life easier? Or do you feel like you're always falling behind no matter what? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe. It helps you stay informed and it helps this community grow. Let's start with the change that gets the most attention every October, the cost of living adjustment, or COLA. This annual increase is meant to keep benefits in line with inflation. For 2026, experts are projecting a 2.7% increase, though the official number won't be announced until October 15th. If those projections hold, it works out to about $54 more per month for the average retiree, or roughly $650 over a year. Sounds good, right? But here's the problem. Medicare Part B premiums are also expected to rise by more than 11%, increasing by about $26.50 a month. That alone would take away nearly 40% of the COLA, leaving most retirees with only about $32 more in their pocket each month. That's why many seniors feel these adjustments don't truly reflect the costs they face. The reason is in the formula. COLA is based on the CPIW, which tracks the spending of urban wage earners, not retirees. But retirees typically spend more on things like healthcare, housing, and utilities, areas where prices are rising the fastest. For example, medical care services alone are up by about 4.2% this year, which is far higher than the projected COLA. So even with a raise, your actual buying power keeps slipping. Another major change tied to October 15th has to do with the full retirement age. This doesn't get as much attention, but it's critical. Back in 1983, Congress passed a law gradually raising the full retirement age from 65 to 67. By 2026, that phase-in will be complete. That means if you were born in 1960 or later, your official full retirement age is 67. This matters a lot. If you claim benefits early at 62, the reduction will be even larger compared to someone whose full retirement age was 65. On the other hand, if you delay past 67, you'll earn an extra 8% per year until age 70. Timing your claim is more important than ever. Next, let's look at the wage cap for Social Security taxes. In 2025, income up to $176,100 is subject to Social Security taxes. In 2026, projections suggest that cap will rise to about $183,600. For higher earners, that means more of your paycheck gets taxed, about $465 in additional Social Security taxes for the year. For most people, this won't affect take-home pay, but if you're in the higher income brackets, it's something to note. There's also the earnings test to keep in mind. If you begin claiming Social Security before reaching full retirement age, your benefits are reduced if you earn too much from work. For 2026, the earnings limits are expected to rise. If you're under full retirement age, the limit will be about $24,360 per year, up from $23,400. If you reach full retirement age in 2026, the threshold will be about $64,800, with the same benefit reduction rules applying. Once you hit full retirement age, there are no limits, and any benefits withheld earlier are recalculated, not lost forever. Another key point is work credits. To qualify for Social Security, you need 40 credits, which typically equals about 10 years of work. In 2025, one credit equals $1,810 in earnings. That figure will increase in 2026, though the exact number hasn't been released yet. For full-time workers, this usually isn't an issue, but for part-time workers, gig workers, or people with irregular job histories, it can be a real obstacle. For full-time workers, this usually isn't an issue, but for part-time workers, gig workers, or people with irregular job histories, it can be a real obstacle. Without enough credits, you can't qualify for retirement benefits at all. That's why even younger workers need to pay attention to these updates, even if retirement feels far away. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture, the Social Security Trust Fund. According to the latest trustees report, the combined trust funds could run out by 2033, which is only 7 years after the 2026 update. If nothing changes, across-the-board benefit cuts of about 23% could begin. To put it in perspective, that would mean a $2,000 monthly check dropping to around $1,540. This is where politics enters the conversation. The Trump administration has been pushing efficiency audits through the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, aiming to streamline how the Social Security Administration operates. The new commissioner, Frank Bignano, is focused on modernizing systems and reducing waste. Supporters believe this will help stretch the program's resources, while critics argue it doesn't solve the long-term funding problem. On top of that, policies like the senior deduction from the recent One Big Beautiful Bill reduce taxable income for retirees, helpful for households now, but they also reduce revenue for the trust fund. So, what does this mean for you right now? It means that October 15th isn't just a date to check whether your benefit goes up, it's a time to step back and think about your bigger financial picture. Will rising Medicare premiums eat up most of your COLA? Should you rethink when to claim benefits, now that full retirement age is 67? If you're working part-time, are you earning enough credits to qualify for benefits? These are the questions worth asking. And here's a common misconception. People often say Social Security will be gone by the time younger generations retire. That's not entirely true. Even if the trust fund runs out, payroll taxes will still cover about 77% of benefits. It's not the full promise, but it's also not nothing. The gap will need to be closed, whether by raising taxes, cutting benefits, or some mix of both. That uncertainty is why it's so important to see how Social Security fits into your overall financial plan. Relying on it alone could leave you exposed. Some experts estimate that future retirees, especially Gen X, might need to save an additional $150,000 or more to make up for potential reductions. That could mean putting away an extra $700 per month starting now. It's a tough reality, but it shows why planning ahead matters. So as October 15th approaches, make sure to check the official Social Security website for the final numbers, which will be released once September's inflation data comes in. Don't just focus on the increase. Look at your Medicare premiums, your taxes, and your retirement timing. All of these pieces fit together. And I'd love to know what you think. Do you believe Social Security will stay strong for future generations? Or does the system need a complete overhaul? Share your thoughts in the comments. At the end of the day, October 15th is much more than a date on the calendar. It's a reminder that Social Security isn't fixed. It changes with the economy, with politics, and with time. The best way to protect yourself is to stay informed, flexible, and prepared. That kind of steady awareness helps you take control instead of being blindsided. So keep an eye out for the official announcement, monitor your finances closely, and as always, thank you for spending this time with me today. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button and share this with someone who could benefit from understanding these changes. Together, we can stay prepared, one step at a time.